The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Fotello, the best AI editing platform. Snap, upload, and deliver at fotello.co. Coming to you from the Upmarket studio in beautiful San Buenaventura, California, this is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media. And what a lucky day. Mark Corcoran,
come on.
COO, other co-founder, sitting back in his rightful place in the chair.
Yes, it's been a minute, and it feels good to be back.
It's been a lot of minutes. I've done a lot of episodes. I've traveled to Canada to do episodes. I've done all this. And what have you been doing?
Just running Upmarket Media. No big deal.
Oh, Molly Pierce, you've been doing stuff too. She's producing off camera today, but she's here.
Yes. Hi, Reed.
Hi, yeah. You went to Canada too.
I did.
Yeah.
It was very fun. I had a lot of alcohol for the first time ever.
Yeah. I think Molly took out about 4.5 alcoholic drinks over the course of a week.
You guys don't know I'm not much of a drinker.
A wild one.
So
yeah, she was crazy.
Reed brought out the rebel in me.
Yeah, so. I'll do it. Yeah, and our friends and all of our Canadian iGuide and other friends.
Yes,
they like to party up there.
Yes, we were treated very well. So
yeah. Well, and speaking of iGuide, we are so happy that we are partnering with them again on their tour to PMRE. And look, iGuide, and this is coming up. The first drawing is coming up on June 16th, right, Molly? June 16th. So look. This year, iGuide is giving away 3 fully paid trips to PMRE. So that's your ticket, which is like $800. Mm-hmm. That's your airfare, wherever you're from in North America, and your hotel at the Palms, and I think some spending money. In addition to that, they also have sweetened it. They are giving you access to one of the PMRE workshops. So there's a couple of photography workshops. There's a video workshop. There's an AI workshop. So get in there. So if you want to know more about, if you want to get in on that, go to goiguide.com/PMRE. You just have to enter your email address and then follow Upmarket Pod and go_iGuide on Instagram. First drawing is June 16th. There's 3 trips available. The first one is gone after June 16th. So please get in there and do it. And for information on those workshops and all about PMRE, which is November 17th through 19th at the Palms Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, go to PMREconference.com. Of course, we will be there. Go check it out. I cannot stress enough how important it is to go to PMRE. Woo, man. I just did that off the top of my head.
You just got that all out.
Pretty good.
And congrats to iGuide, man. They're sweetening the deal this year. It's insane.
I know. I can't believe what they're doing. Man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Very cool.
It's crazy. So I did that all in one take because I wanted to impress a very special friend of the show who was just on pretty recently, but we got him back because there's some stuff that we needed. As much as I bitch about realtors, sometimes we do want to have them on.
There's a couple good ones out there we like to talk to.
Yeah, we can pick their brains, get into the tiny brains of the realtors. And we have the biggest of the tiny brains here, Sam Benner. What are you now, broker at
Area Leader.
Area Leader.
And I'm also a head coach and director of content for A Brilliant Tribe. So Area Leader for Y Realty.
Y Realty.
Head coach and director of content for A Brilliant Tribe. We coach real estate agents and affiliates.
Ah, all right.
Yes.
Oh, head coach.
A Brilliant Tribe. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, okay. So Y Realty, no one's ever heard of that, right? Because it's just small.
We're very new.
Very
yes.
new.
New
very small.
and small, yes.
New and small and local in our area.
To go with our tiny brains.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. in Southern California. But so here, and the reason we want you to come on is we wanted to touch on this subject that is about the total opposite end of the spectrum, which is all the mergers and acquisitions that have been happening in the real estate, in the realtor world, really, in the brokerage world. So can you fill us in on over the last year, what exactly has happened so we can set the stage for our listeners on what the environment's like?
So the first big merger was Compass acquiring Anywhere, which Anywhere is a mix of all kinds of different brands. We've got Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
don't forget Corcoran. Corcoran Real Estate. Come on, they're in there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great respect. And so that one really is what kind of set the stage for what has now become the mergers and acquisitions season that we're in right now. The next one after that was Real Brokerage Technologies purchasing Remax, which was also a very landmark situation to have a cloud-based brokerage purchasing a franchise model. So the Compass deal was $10 billion, The Remax deal was $880 million.
Mm-hmm.
The last one, most recently, was EXP purchasing Next Home, which again was this kind of blend of two different models working, working together, and the idea of kind of this all-in-one, kind of deal. If you want to be a cloud, you can be in the cloud. If you want to have a traditional brokerage, you can have a traditional brokerage. So all three of these happening has really shaken things up from the agent perspective, as you might imagine. You've spent your entire business life, let's say at Coldwell Banker, marketing Coldwell Banker, attached to that culture, differentiating yourself from Sotheby's, differentiating yourself from the other brands. And now you're this big kind of amorphous blob of real estate agent. And so it's completely changed the landscape now to where the focus has been, how do I set myself apart? How do I kind of create, something of an individual business that can connect with buyers and sellers? And the biggest thing I think that I'm most concerned about in all of these acquisitions is that the buyer and the seller, essentially the client that drives all of this to make it even worth anything, is not mentioned. There are not any press releases, not any of the stockholder meetings, none of this stuff.
We're doing this for the benefit of the home buyer.
I personally am shocked. That they haven't thought of that.
And isn't it like the Compass Anywhere thing, right? All of those little brands are still their brands, right? Even though they're owned by Compass, or are they eventually all going to just be Compass?
So what they say in the beginning always in these situations, and I hope it to be true, is that each brokerage will still be able to operate independently, maintain their brand going forward. What happens is that you're now going to be using the Compass technology.
So back-end stuff, right?
So now the back end starts to become the back end, and eventually, as I've seen in most of these cases, the back end eventually becomes the front end.
Right.
So it's a bit of a concern for me.
That happened to me once.
That goes.
It was a good weekend, man.
Good times. And so that's, and again, it's still left to be seen. But on paper, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you're talking about debt restructuring and, agent counts getting to this kind of level, to still be able to feel like you're going to have this kind of independent operation, to me is very challenging.
Yeah.
And so most of the time we've seen in the past when Compass has acquired other brokerages is that they say the same thing. Now they've acquired smaller brokerages to this point, that eventually it becomes a Compass office.
Yeah. But they kind of sell it on the front end like, oh, you can keep your thing. We're just going to give more technology and more cloud-based and more whatever.
But wouldn't it, but some of these brands are like pretty strong brands, right?
There's no question about it.
Like your Sotheby's, Sotheby's is part of that one, right?
Yeah.
Yep. How
Coldwell
do you just erase that? That brand equity really? That seems like, geez. But maybe. Look at the airlines that TWA went away, Continental went away, all these giant brands, right? And
I think the hope is that eventually, because of the technology piece and the other things that Compass brings to the table, is that the connection to that brand, becomes less and less essential to the business. However, because there have been, we're talking about decades of differentiating themselves from the other, even the other brands themselves inside of Anywhere, to now where they're not going to have that kind of individuality.
Right. And I keep just in my mind going back to Sotheby's, who is, I feel like, have really built the We Are Luxury, right? It's like the Sotheby's, it's the auction house, we're going to take that name. So then all of a sudden, and Compass, I think in my mind, feels, they have really good branding and it feels like kind of a luxury, at least in Southern California. I think of it as a luxury brand. I don't know, throughout
more tech heavy, tech-based luxury.
But it just feels like, man, that's just all of a sudden, if you're a Sotheby's agent and you've spent so many years just doing that, and then all of a sudden that just goes away.
Yeah, you're in with the Century 21 and all these other.
Then you're in with all the slobs at the other places, and that's what the Sotheby's people think. I don't think they're slobs.
No, of course not. And, just even thinking about it from a local level here, just in our county, that's, the different brokerage flags have really, established themselves. And I think about, we have such a strong Remax presence here, for example.
Sure.
To think that they would need to forego, we're talking about, a long time of, again, highly regarded agents, great people that work there.
Yeah, and the Remax balloons, the red, white, and blue, it's all.
For us here, Fred Evans growing up, we saw him at every car wash, at everything. He was just the guy.
Yeah.
And so to think that that's going to somehow dissolve and not have, and be under a different brand, to me, is just, it would seem to be pretty short-sighted.
I guess, but Remax branding sucks. Let's be honest. It's like,
You don't like the balloon?
no.
No, not a balloon
It
guy?
sucks, but it's known, right? It's
Yeah,
just like it's
yeah.
pervasive everywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't like the balloon.
We sure know what
I'm
it
not
is.
a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the other part of it that's interesting too is that obviously this big play here is market share. It's agent count and market share is really what they're acquiring.
Right.
And so, and you guys have seen this on the battlegrounds with Zillow and Compass now fighting over this kind of private listing, network
Coming soon or whatever
coming
it is.
soon,
Yeah.
and this is this great battle that's going on. And so now Compass, I feel they probably again have more of a standing ground in this because, and it's also as an attraction to an agent to say, well, if I want to be able to have my buyers be able to see these properties and have a shot at it. In some areas, Compass is getting they're double ending 41% of their deals.
Jeez.
It's something like maybe single digit percentages on average.
And that's because they're not putting it out to the MLS first. Yeah.
It stays in their network for however long of a period. And so you're only able to see those properties and show those properties if you're a Compass agent.
Yeah.
And so, so it's that part. That's the strategy of the part of this that I don't endorse, or I don't think is, again, a good thing.
Yeah, where they're
in the long
gatekeeping,
run.
right? They're holding
Exactly.
holding the listings
and
hostage,
because we have all the
basically.
agents,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's bad for you.
It's
but
bad for us
It's
and-
bad for you personally.
And I think it's also bad for the seller at the end of the
Yeah.
day. To say that we're doing this on behalf of the seller, to me, where you see the proof of the seller making the most money and netting the bigger proceeds is when the property's put on the open market.
But what's their argument for not putting it on there? What's their argument for it benefiting the seller to not put it on the open?
They have some interesting, that again, the seller being inconvenienced.
Oh yeah.
Because you're going to have to, have your house shown to a lot of different people. You're going to have all these people,
And look, you
traipsing
might-
through your thing.
Yeah,
You
open
might make an
houses
extra
and,
$100,000, but it's really going to be inconvenient.
Yes. I mean, you might have to vacuum
Yes.
a couple times a week.
Right.
And how dare you ask me to do such things?
Right.
And so it's really under this kind of, again, I think it's not very, it doesn't have a lot of sense to it. But this idea of them kind of, again, selling this convenience factor and that they have a network of buyers that are already qualified, that
pre-vetted and all
aren't
that
going to go
stuff,
through your
yeah.
prescription medication, all of that stuff. And so it's kind of, again, this more of an elitist take on things. And again, that's just, for me, it doesn't work. And as far as the open market being better, that's essentially what is, at the end of the day for the sellers.
Yeah, you're closing off a big percentage of that market doing that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, where do you think we're going to end up in terms of number of brokerages? I mean, is this it, or are there any other, and I'm familiar with the brands that are around us, right? But I'm not familiar with all the nationwide brands. Are there more of these on the horizon, or are we kind of about as far as we can go?
Seems like the dust is kind of settled for the moment. I know there's a lot of talk about possibly Keller Williams possibly being next. Now, we don't really know, but I believe it's almost maybe 48, 49%. Gary Keller did sell to Stone Point or one of these Stone Capital companies.
Blackstone or something like that. Yeah.
One of the Stone ones. And that happened a little while ago. However, they might be able to, they might actually sell the entire entity, or maybe Keller Williams is in a position to be able to acquire. Because I think at the end of the day, Gary would also like to be able to maybe work in the cloud space and not have to be a traditional brick and mortar brokerage. But other than that, I think for the time being, it seems like, unless we have something pop up, most of the brokerages have been.
There's already seen, I don't hear
They're
much
already being swept together.
about Berkshire. Berkshire's still an individual thing, I guess.
Berkshire has stayed on its own, and I again, it's kind of in a great respect, I think, for what they have accomplished and brought to the table. And I think because they have, it's the Warren Buffett, it's the that kind of background, they understand that part of the game.
Yeah.
They've been able to stay, at this time. They're still a publicly traded company, but at the same time, they've stayed independent in the sense that they're not going to be doing any of the mergers and acquisitions.
But yeah, the field is narrowing, man. It's just kind of crazy.
Well, so let's look at it from the agent perspective. I mean, how does the average agent feel about it, do you think?
It's interesting. So I've had some conversations with just agents around town, and at first I think it was met with a lot of excitement. especially let's say a lot of the agents that work for the Compass brokerages that got purchased. So the Anywhere people, I've talked to Coldwell Banker people, Sotheby's people, and I think they're excited about the opportunity to get to the technology.
Right.
And that has been a big selling point, I believe. What we are seeing though is that some of their the territory managers, people like that, are getting let go. There's no need. It's duplicitous.
Sure.
To have multiple people overseeing. So that has started to kind of wake them up, saying, okay, wait a second. Maybe this isn't going to be just business as usual. Mm-hmm. I know that from the RE/MAX perspective, because Real is a revenue share company,
right?
There was a lot of phone calls and Real agents from all over the country that are trying to now recruit RE/MAX agents to come to Real, thinking that was going to be something they could do.
Right.
In the merger, it was clearly stated, you're not adding RE/MAX agents to your downline. Calm down, everybody.
Interesting.
Right.
Like, I got to build my pyramid down, man.
There was this surge, and poor RE/MAX people were just overwhelmed with calls because they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to add Fred Evans and all these people to my downline, and it's going to be amazing. And not just from this area, but from all over the country. They're targeting RE/MAXes here and elsewhere. So now that dust has settled a little bit and people have understood, I think the general anxiety is just about, are we going to be able to continue to carry on as truly as the brokers that we've worked so hard to build and brand and, separate from the rest of the pack. That's where most agents are concerned. Do I,
right. Well, and that's your leverage point, right? Because obviously you're out there, and you have a vested interest in recruiting from these places at this point, right?
It's interesting how
you can make the pitch for the independent.
Yes, and that's really what it is to be that that other option, because we're not publicly traded. We have no intention on being publicly traded. We still have great technology. We've got great people that are at the forefront of that space. But to have it to where, it's about you branding yourself as the agent. Why Realty is, as small and as, positioned in the bottom right corner as possible, and to really encourage the agents to brand themselves and to create, their own story.
Lean into that relationship-based business still and be the brand, right?
But I mean, isn't that the MO? I mean, pretty much for most brokerages, I mean, it's really up to the agent. And I mean, that's why, for me from the outside, right? Like, what does it really matter what brokerage you're at, right? In terms of, obviously you can negotiate a different split with a different place, or I know there's stuff, but like, it to me always seems, with the notable exception of like Sotheby's, where it's really about that brand and the agent is just kind of like under it.
Yeah.
But in so many others, it's really about the brand of the individual agent. And I mean, but you see that with all these mergers and acquisitions, that the edict from the top is going to change, and that it should really be more branded for the brokerage.
Correct. Yeah. So if you look at, Compass signs, they all look the same.
Yeah.
The only thing they can change is their team name.
Yeah.
Sotheby's is the same way,
Then it's like brokerage first, then agent, not the other way around, right?
Very much so.
That's a key differentiator.
And so, and they were trained to be dependent on the brokerage. Agents have really kind of been seen as like, okay, I'm the reason why I'm successful is because of this brand that I fly. But it's true. If you ask a buyer or a seller that you've worked with, and I ask agents to do this all the time, ask them, somebody that you sold a house to a couple years ago, what brokerage you're with. And they probably won't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
They picked you. You're the one that they chose to work with. And so if you don't have your own story that you're telling and, pieces that you're putting out there that differentiate yourselves from the rest of the pack, and you are dependent on the brokerage, as these mergers and acquisitions continue to happen, your value is diluted each time it happens.
Well, and I look at it from our perspective as real estate media folk. It's like, what we tell our agents over and over and over again is we need to do personalized stuff for you. You need to be in the videos. You need to have your own signature, way that you're going to go about it. As much as we kind of are cookie cutter about most of the marketing, video is that place where the agent's personality can really come through. And that's what we always struggled with when we were doing a lot of stuff for Sotheby's, is they just needed everything to be about that brand and whatever. And they've loosened up a little, but it's like you can't put the agents on camera. You can't do this. You can't do that.
No, they can be on, but they can't say anything. Jeez.
Right.
And so if those edicts start coming down, I mean, I just think we as real estate media creators need to be really kind of in the know about what agents are being told by their brokerages. And how do we make sure that we're providing the materials that not only make the broker happy, but the brokerage is happy, but also make the agents happy?
Well, this is a big part of what I was excited to talk to you guys about today, because, for all the listeners, I mean, the timing to be in real estate media and to reach out to your agents and to be talking to them about this, I mean, the timing could not be more, eminent. I mean, this is really when you should be reaching out to your clients and saying, listen, with all this stuff going on, they probably do work for one or two of these brokerages, right? How are you telling, your story? And you guys are the way. You guys are the way that we can tell our own story, and to make sure that we are marketing ourselves and, creating a brand around anything, whatever they are as an agent, types of transactions they do, the neighborhoods they specialize in, the communities that they're a part of, the work that they're doing. All that story now needs to be told. That's where that like and trust and all those things are established, which is completely independent from the brokerage that they work for.
Right.
And even if they change offices, their whole life doesn't have to change.
And the brokerage can't really, I mean, they might have some guidelines, but they can't really control your story. Your story is your story, right? You can still be telling that.
And ultimately, unless the brokerage is paying for it, I think which is kind of the at least where we are. The Sotheby's model is the money comes from the brokerage, so they get to say, no, these are the types of videos we do.
That's
but
right.
if the brokerage isn't paying, then they can only reprimand you so much if you're going to go out and make.
Well, that part to me, because another part of this that we haven't really touched on is we're a vendor, but there's all these other vendors in a real estate transaction, right?
Yes.
And it's agents like you have your own network. You have your preferred lender, your preferred insurer, your preferred all these things. But all of these mergers coming together, they want to vertically integrate all of that, right? That's
Absolutely.
like a big play. They want to control the title, the escrow, the insurance, the movers, and they want that all in one house. So what happens to your referral network that we're a part of as a vendor? If they're saying, no, this is what our media looks like, this is what this looks like, and it becomes standardized, then you lose your network and your individuality to have options for your clients, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the scary part of this is that, it's not just about the agent now. They're trying to own the entire transaction.
Yeah.
You're right.
They don't want just a little split on your commission. They want every little piece of the pie, right?
They have big debts they need to repay that they've purchased from buying these brokerages.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
They need to service that debt. And that's got to come from somewhere. And it's true, all of these companies have title and escrow relationships already. And then, of course, they all have in-house lenders.
Yeah.
And so, and they're interesting the way that they persuade their agents to have to use those services.
So it's not mandatory, but it's there must be a revenue share or something where it's highly incentivized, right?
And there was times where, again, I've worked for companies that have had in-house escrow, and if I opened up with my preferred escrow company, it was a conversation.
Oh,
I was
Sam,
having
what are you doing
with
there?
the owner. Yeah. What? How come you couldn't get our person in there? Something happened? What's
They
going
lean
on?
on you, huh? Yeah.
And that can get a little awkward, a little uncomfortable.
Sure.
And again, too, you just kind of feel like you want to go along. You want to be a company person. You want to, do what's right. And so, but the truth is that, the level of service when you consolidate like that, as we know, goes down.
Yeah.
Without competition, it's going to go down.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk more about our relationship as real estate media people with these larger companies and with sometimes, I've heard some stories about people with broker deals, and I want to talk to you about what I've heard the chatter happening with that, and it ain't good for us. I'll tell you that. So let's take a quick break though. We can reset ourselves. We'll do a social media sidebar. We're going to come back and we'll talk a lot more about this stuff, and then we're going to end it with action items. Mark, you're the operations guy. So I think you really care about workflow.
I do.
Because I don't, but I actually do. But I think it affects your life more than mine, unless it's the weekend. And so our workflows have improved this year because of
drastically from Fatello. Our buddies at Fatello.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Same day delivery. I mean.
Yeah, you can go ahead and expound on that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's easy for our photographers, right? They're coming back. Yeah. They dump the footage. We get it back within an hour. If we want to deliver it that day, we can. Our VA has it, dials it in, we put it into our delivery system, and it's just
we just quoted a same day delivery today. It happened, and we quote $100. He opted not to do it, but had he done it, that would have been an easy $100 for us.
Just the fact that that's an option. I mean, that's wild.
Yeah. So not only is our workflow better, we can actually make more money from it. With better workflows, you're going to make better money. That's what I've always said. And so I would, and not only are the workflows better, but the photos are great too. I mean, Fotello, there's Photon, what is it, 6.1 now?
6.1 at least, yeah.
At least. And it's getting better every single day. We're getting so many compliments on how great our photos look. So I would check it out, fotello.co. If you use the code 50UP, you are going to get 50% off your first month. And I love Fotello because it's also pay by listing. I mean, it's really great. So you can have like kind of, well, not unlimited, but a lot of photos in a listing.
Yeah,
so,
and all the add-ons, the staging, the Twilights, they're doing AI photo to video stuff now. They've got it
absolutely.
all.
Yeah. So check it out, fotello.co. Mark, it's been spring. We've been doing a lot of iGuides. We really have. I mean, I've been so happy to integrate iGuide into our business more and more each day.
Yes.
Yes.
We're doing less of this other stuff and more of the iGuide, and we like that.
More of the iGuide, yeah. And I know our shooters like it too because it's a lot faster on site than certain other platforms.
Right. The interface is clean. It's easy to use. Yeah.
Yeah, and the results are fantastic. Our clients, as switching to a different 3D tour provider has been pretty seamless. We have really gotten no pushback, and it's been fantastic because the iGuide product is so good.
Yeah, they love the interactive floor plan, and we put in a few site plans here and there. People are loving those still.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, absolutely. And again, a great revenue, a bringer of revenue are those site plans. You can always be upcharging for a site plan. People love seeing the layout of the entire property. So if you don't have the iGuide system, go check them out. Go to goiguide.com. And check out all of the stuff iGuide has to offer. They have the Planix R1 camera. It's easy, fast, great quality. And then, just the iGuide tours are fantastic.
Yeah, we need to buy another camera, I think, man.
I know we're doing
so
enough
many of them.
we gotta, we need more cameras. iGuide, we need more cameras. Goiguide.com. And make sure to go to goiguide.com/PMRE and get in to win those free trips to PMRE. All right, social media sidebar. We are Upmarket Pod across all social media. I'm Reed Fish, LYSM. This is my personal page, so you could go ahead and follow that. Mark, Ventura Kiwi.
Yeah.
Sam.
Still a great name.
Yeah.
At Sam Benner.
At Sam Benner.
Kick it easier than that.
Molly P Media over there.
Yes.
Mollypedia.
Go Bama.
Roll Tide. I guess I don't post a lot of content Reed particularly likes because it has to do with sports. So.
I like sports. I just like college baseball. Why are you posting clips
That's too
about
niche.
this?
That's too niche.
Literally no one cares.
Sorry,
It's
it's
like
my
archery
alum.
for you.
And I used to do broadcasting for them, Reed.
Yes,
anyway.
I'm aware. I read your resume once a year ago.
Tough room.
So back to social media.
Yeah. What's in the social media streets right now?
Well, right now, our Upmarket Pod Instagram has been popping off. We've been really building our following, and
that's good.
It's been really fun.
Everyone else should join in the fun.
Yes, the collabs with iGuide have been amazing, especially leading up to PMRE. So make sure to stay updated on all those and the giveaway that is happening.
Yeah, of course.
Just the last couple of weeks, we hit over 1,100. We just hit over 1,000 followers, and then just in the past 2 weeks, it went. We've been getting
since we went to Canada. That was
I was going to say it was the Canada boost.
Yeah,
10% Canada boost.
I want to say almost 5 followers a day. So that's been really awesome. Keep them coming, folks. We like that.
Yeah. So and you do. People want to win free trips to PMRE. So
it was Reed on the spin bike.
Yeah,
really was what.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the story. I followed every step of that story.
That was a good one. Yeah.
That was so fun to watch.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what's Y Realty's social media strategy, Sam?
It's been really about hyper local content.
Right.
So that's been our big focus, is creating stuff, going all the way down to the neighborhood level, creating content that answers questions about a neighborhood that only somebody who really either lives or works or knows that neighborhood can answer, creating that content, posting that on social media, and the AI models are eating that up. And so when somebody's searching for, I live in Stonehenge in Ventura, trek on the east end of town. And so anybody who searches anything related to Stonehenge in the neighborhood, because I've posted all these articles, all this information, my name comes up as an ideal realtor for that neighborhood. And so that's what we're teaching our agents to do right now, and it's working well.
Okay. Hyper specific.
Yes, there you go.
All right.
Not just local.
No, not just
hyper
local.
Street by street.
There you go.
Yeah, hyper local content.
Yes.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
It's been working great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you're talking about local issues, I mean, we've noticed it because we have our, I'm not even going to say our sister podcast, our other podcast, we do Real VC about, Ventura County real estate. And when we've it's been working better for us because, one, we've had Molly producing, and then, she's been, and, Tessa, who's been editing, have been great at, getting some good clips and, great at flagging stuff that is going to resonate with our local, listeners and viewers.
Yeah.
Because, all of a sudden you just throw out, a Reed Fish hot take, about Ventura County, and then it can catch fire a little bit.
All I got to do right now is just say, should Main Street be open
Yes,
or closed?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look out in
And
the
then-
comments.
and then-
Yeah.
Fire away.
We want to do an episode all about that, but yeah.
Get the dueling sides going back and forth.
Woo, boy, howdy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it also comes from just like, I know Ventura County, but a lot of people do get heated about just people moving here. Like
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue.
Well,
Yeah, and I think
Interesting.
there's so many communities across the country where that's happening. Where starting with COVID and really just over the last few years, as we're having an affordability crisis everywhere, a lot of smaller communities are getting an influx of urbanites and things. And I think there's a lot of places around the country where, there's this kind of struggle between the locals and the new folk, and it's a little hairy.
And us real estate agents and real estate
Yeah.
media people were really at the front lines
Yes.
of this. While you guys are out shooting a listing, you got a neighbor saying, and then, putting out open house signs. How dare you sell this house? I'm just like, you cut down a palm tree around here, you're going to get into some trouble.
Oh, yeah. Or you fly a drone for a listing. Oh, they all come out of the woodwork. Yeah.
There you go.
What's going on? Who's going on in the
So,
market?
yeah. And I mean, it's interesting. You do want to have a community that has that kind of passion, for their communities. There's no question about it. But it's a little short-sighted to think that, pull the ladder up, I'm on board kind of mentality, is really tough for people to understand, because it's true. I mean, Ventura County and other counties, we are a more affordable option, which is crazy to say for some people, because for a lot of people we're not. But to have people from LA, from Santa Barbara, see us as an option, to be able to have a home.
Yeah, we get squeezed from the north and the south. So yeah.
So yeah, but it makes for some interesting dialogue. That's for sure.
Well, we're going to have more interesting dialogue after these brief messages, and we're going to come back, talk more about mergers and acquisitions, and have action items. Whew. Mark, I think there's been some stress on our economy. I think we can all admit that,
heard
right?
some
I think
rumors.
everyone, heard some rumors. Gas prices up, things are a little tight. And I know for me personally, for the business, for everyone, and that's what I hear from everybody, that it's tight for everybody, including real estate agents, which is one of the reasons I love HD Photo Hub, because they have an integration with Titus. So you can offer pay at close, which I think is a great way right now for agents who have no money to be like, oh, I can pay for a bigger package if I can pay at close.
Totally.
So this is a thing that increases your average order value. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you get paid right away. It doesn't
Yeah.
really affect you. It just gives them the option, and it's just like, well, maybe I'll do it. I'll get,
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
paid in a month, and it'll be all good.
So that's only one of 5 million amazing things about HD Photo Hub. And of course, you can also get more revenue from them, because not only is your average order value going to go up, but your average order value is going to go up even more if you're going to sell those marketing kits.
Yeah.
Again, marketing kits are all so
They're so
fantastic.
key.
So key. You can make so much extra income from that. Basically pay for all the services you get from HD Photo Hub. So it's like, I think I like to think of HD Photo Hub as a revenue generator, not as a drain on not as a financial drain on our business.
Yeah, and again, it's like all set up for us. It's just plug and play. Like, we don't do anything. There's a button. They press it and they pay you for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
come on.
fantastic. So that and a million other things. Go check them out. hdphotohub.com. Use the code UPMARKET. You're going to get 15 free full deliveries, including the marketing kit. Fantastic deal. You're going to make so much money just from that right there. Boom.
Done.
Hey, Mark, you ever done a floor plan in a moving vehicle?
Done a lot of floor plans, but I don't think I've done one
No,
of those.
but imagine you were in like a big RV cruising down the freeway. You know what I would do? I would pull out my phone and I would use
could
the second
totally do
floor.
that.
I think you
that'd
could.
be wild. I wonder what that would do to
could.
the GPS. Probably.
I don't know. I would try it. I didn't say it would work, but I said if
worth
I
a
was
shot.
going to try it, I would use second floor app. That's what I would use because of
No-brainer.
course, fast, reliable, instant results from second floor app. You just pull out that phone, fire it up, walk around the house. 5 minutes later, you got a floor plan. You know, maybe you have to park the RV, but if you don't, I mean, you know, because I love multitasking.
Right? You could drive, shoot it, and deliver it, and you're still moving down the road. I mean, come on.
Yeah, moving forward with your life. I mean, it could not get any better than that. So go to secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. You can get a free month of service. You can travel in your RV. You can travel all around, do floor plans wherever you want. For
In
a
every
whole month.
state. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, we're back. Shockingly, still, Mark Corcoran has not run out to like go shoot a house. He's
No shooting today. I'm like, what's happening?
He's still here for the second half of the show.
almost
We
in Reed Fish
and of
level.
course Sam Benner. Be careful there, man. Sam Benner is still here. Okay, so you know, one of the things we do talk about sometimes, and I think we should all be thinking about, is how are we making, as real estate media folk, making brokerage level deals where we can be like the preferred vendor, or we can get all the business from a certain brokerage, right? And I know a lot of people out there, we don't really have any right now. We have had them in the past, but you know, we don't now.
Yeah.
For whatever
Brokerages dissolve, change, morph, people
Yes.
leave, and you're like,
Yes.
oh, there that goes.
Yeah, people stab you in the back. I mean, you know, there's just all sorts of things that can happen. But I've heard chatter in like the Facebook groups that I think there's a lot of people who have deals with like Compass brokerages. And what has and I think it's Compass. I just thought of this question, so I didn't have time to go back and look at the posts. Where basically you're giving a discounted rate to the brokerage and they're funneling all the business to you, right? But then now what they have done is said, well, if you want to continue doing that, here's the new rates. And then also at the end of every month, we get a 10% cash back.
So that's a revenue share agreement.
Yeah.
They're getting a little bit of the pie
Oh, wow.
to incentivize them to keep
Look who's in the real
recommending
estate
you.
media business all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow. That's like a real thing.
That is a real thing. And you know, people are asking in the groups, what do I do?
Yeah. How do I navigate this?
You
They're
know?
dictating my terms, or do I have to say yes or no and walk away?
Yeah, and that's the question you have to ask. Because I don't think there's a, well, what about 5%? Or no. If you say no, then they'll find someone who will.
It's like, see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opportunity, I'm sure, depending on the Compass office and the area that you're in, is probably pretty big.
Yeah.
I
They're like,
mean,
we got
They're
1,000
heavy-
agents. What
and
do you
they're
want? Yeah.
Heavy listers. I mean,
Right.
we're talking about you're shooting, you know, this is going to be people that work with sellers.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, the opportunity is definitely big. But yeah, what you do essentially kind of have to sacrifice is to realize, can you make enough on top of that 10%, you know, to make it worth your while? And are you equipped to be able to handle that surge of business?
Yeah.
And
It's a volume play, really.
and
It's
meet
like,
their design standard, which is going to be very specific and leave
Yeah.
you with very little, you know, of your own to put in there.
Yeah.
right. We need this type of bathroom photo and this type of drone photo and whatever. They'll
They might
have.
as well just put a grid up on top
Yeah.
of your lens
Yeah.
and say, this is what we want.
Here's your shot list. Go for
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right. And
Which
so-
to me, I'm great.
You know?
I mean,
When you're hiring
we don't have to
photographers
guess.
and like,
Yeah.
You know?
like this agent wants this, and it's like this is what they all want. Just like that's
Yeah. And again, too, it's just like, you know, if it's like getting your product in Costco. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a great opportunity, but you know you're selling it to Costco for less.
Yeah.
They're taking a pretty big piece of the pie, but you're getting all these people that come through Costco every day,
Yeah.
right.
checking out your product and using it. I mean, that's
So the margin goes down, but the volume goes up, and you just have to weigh like if you can really
Yeah.
have that make sense.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you service that business effectively?
Yeah, and one of the things though, when you do have the brokerage deals, though, it becomes a large percentage of your business for a lot of people, right? And so then I think you get in this position where you don't feel like you have any leverage anymore, and then the brokerage has all the leverage, and then they can do shit like, hey, we've had this deal, but oh, here's the new terms, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
wait a sec, I thought
Right.
the old deal was fine.
Right.
You know, and they're like, well, no, here's the new deal. And so then you have to sign it, or you see 30% or 40% of your business go away.
Yeah. Oh, we want all the rights to your photos, and we control it, and you can't post. And it's like, You just have to check the
The
box or
10%
move on.
keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, exactly. I
Right.
mean, it's like the mob, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll sell you the protection. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
The other side of it too, and I know that what gets tough is that when that becomes such a big chunk of your business, is that it doesn't allow you to really have any time to focus on growing it and, you know, with other agents. And then when, you know, from an agent perspective, if I know that you've got an exclusive with Compass,
Yeah.
you know, does that bother me, or does that kind of make me feel like I'm not going to get the kind of attention that you're
Sure.
going to be giving to them? You know, which again, at the end of the day, that's something that I think can be overcome with
Yeah.
a good conversation. But it just, you know, that kind of message, that reputation being out there, you know, could also be
And
limiting.
then you're like, oh, maybe I don't want the Compass look. I need to have my own individual look. I'm going to go find this other guy that can do more of a boutique
Right.
custom thing for me.
Right. You know, so it's a very challenging, you know, conundrum, you know, because it's true. I mean, if you are more up and coming, you don't necessarily have much of an established book of business. Lining up with a brokerage gets you busy tomorrow, you know. But it's true, if you have that sense of kind of that entrepreneurial spirit where you really kind of want it to be your deal,
Yeah.
you know, that's you're kind of selling your soul to the devil right away.
Yeah, but it's this fucking business, man. It's like,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
if you're trying to
and
grow and scale and not shoot everything yourself,
yeah,
then it's
but
like,
it's hard. But I do think you need to really watch out to not have any one client be a huge part of your business. So we had the brokerage deal for a while, and I think it was around like, I can't remember, 8 to 11% of our total revenue was that brokerage client. And when we effectively lost that, you know, it wasn't like we lost it to someone else and they took over all the clients. It was just more of like, no, it's not exclusive anymore. And then a bunch of agents went and started using other people.
yeah,
So
we're
we
opening it up.
So we still had, you know, clients from there. So it's not like we went from 10% to 0.
True.
But it hurt, but it also, we could absorb it. You know, it wasn't like if it had been 30%, 40% of our business.
I'll turn off your lights.
Yeah, that would have been, that would have been
Yeah,
a
it's like,
total
we're going to make
nightmare.
payroll. Yeah.
So I think if you are in a situation where you have a single client that's worth that much, I mean, you really need to work on making sure that you get that. If they're 40% of your business, get them down to 10% of your business, and by adding other business, not by having them do less, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And if that one client is conglomerating and then suddenly there's more guidelines coming down from the top and you're getting squeezed, then you just start to feel it, and it's not a good place to be.
But, you know, I think with all the consolidation, I mean, that could be where things are going. I mean, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I wish I had, I mean, the advice I have, I guess, what advice do you have, Sam? Why am I giving advice?
Well, I mean, the truth is I think you have to make a pretty distinct choice. You know, do you want to be an independent, or do you want to, you know, join the blob? And I understand both schools of thought. You know, for me, just because, again, just my own personality, I kind of want to feel like I'm untethered, you know, that I have the opportunity to go get whatever business wherever I want. But I could see if I was in maybe a different part of my life, different time, it would be like, well, this is a, you know, guaranteed business for months to come, even though the terms could change and it could be, you know, challenging. But I'm getting right into work right away, and I'm able to, you know, take care of business. But I think it's almost kind of like your own choice in the fork of the road, is that, you know, am I that kind of independent guy, or if I'm a brokerage guy?
Yeah.
So another thing, I mean, I know you've been working a lot with AI, and I think, you know, I know you've been doing like the AI agents and stuff like that, right?
Oh boy,
so
big time.
yeah. Okay. So yesterday, you know, and this episode will come out in like 10 days or something. So it would have been a week ago, Sunday. In the Sunday New York Times, there was an article by one of their tech reporters that you may have read it.
I read it.
And just to summarize I'm sure you read it. I'm sure it's being passed around to a lot of
people send it to me.
Yes. Where basically their tech reporter just used AI to sell their home effectively.
Yes.
And claimed in it that he probably saved himself $90,000 by using AI to write the listing, recommend the photographer to hire, to help with the paperwork, help with, you know, all the stuff. And so, you know, he's like, he had to do some stuff himself, but he basically turned it all over to AI, answered every email, did all that stuff, saved $90,000, and basically said, I don't think you need a realtor.
Yes.
Wow.
So and
Bombshell.
the reason I asked that, obviously, is because one of the things for our industry, real estate media, is what do real estate agents and what does the real estate world look like in 5 years or 1 year or 2 years? Because our business is so dependent on our relationships with agents, but are agents even going to exist?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so, but what's your take on all this, Sam?
Yeah, well, it's interesting in the article. Really, he's selling this upstate New York house. He got 3 over asking offers with no inspection and no appraisal contingencies. So really, all he had to do was just negotiate the price he was willing to sell the house for, and close.
Right. It was a very simple transaction in the world of, which is basically like 95% of real estate transactions, right?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Things get a little messier
So
than that.
we're talking maybe more on the 5% side.
Right.
That don't have, so I mean, we're talking, and no mention of seller disclosures, no mention of all the liability that goes along with that. And so a lot of it was, again, really sugar-coated in terms, and when a transaction goes smoothly and doesn't have the same kind of challenges, you kind of go, gosh, I probably could have done that myself.
Yeah,
Right.
My job's pretty easy.
It's very,
Right.
and to say, oh, and I used AI, so AI is going to cover my butt, right? You know?
Yeah, because
Well,
AI is always right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could not be wrong. And so the reality is that most transactions are challenging. They are difficult. There's homes and properties that you guys have shot that required somebody probably different than AI to make it actually work, and to get the shots that were needed and to be able to get those things done. Every house, every client is so unique and so different. And there's going to be a, oh my God, pull your hair out, screaming moment of every transaction. This guy, unfortunately, kind of put it in this context where, show me, let's go over the request for repair report and try to ask the seller for, see how they respond to your request for repair.
Right.
Let's go over and let's say it appraised for $50,000 under the thing.
Right.
Let's talk about that part. How's AI going to help you out with that part?
Right.
And like I said, the seller disclosure part is, oh my gosh, this is the most litigated thing in our world. I mean, I had a situation where a buyer sued a seller for a house in the Oxnard Harbor because of the foghorn. And it was ruining their lives.
Didn't disclose the foghorn.
And we had to settle a lawsuit. It's like $50,000
Holy
because
cow.
they didn't disclose the foghorn. And I think the AI might have missed the foghorn. in the
Right.
disclosures.
Well, you missed the foghorn.
Clearly.
Yes, so-
The
Right.
seller
Well,
missed the foghorn.
yeah,
They lived there for years.
And
So
I
it
think
was
to be fair, I think he basically was like, I don't know that for the average person it would have been as easy because I'm a tech writer. I know AI really well. And so I don't think he was actually even advocating that everyone do it.
Yeah.
But,
I did
that's
find-
one line
Showing
out of
that
a
you
big
can
article.
do it.
Yeah.
What I
Yeah.
did find funny is that a tech writer, is writing an article about AI that AI could have written for him, because it's certainly the ideal scenario
Right.
of showing how you could use AI for a home. And then, of course, listening to it was an AI voice on the New York Times website, was an AI voice that read the article. And every time it said AI in the article, it said, AI did this. And then I was just like, oh my God, this is so bad.
Well, yeah, but
kinda
and
funny.
you're coming at that, and obviously, you have a vested interest in saying, no, that's not going to work. But, you're coming at it from, hey, you're a believer in AI. You're teaching classes on how realtors can use AI to help their businesses.
Right.
So you're not coming in from an anti-AI perspective.
Not at
but,
all. I think there's actually huge things that it can do, for agents, again, to be able to help us get more clients and to do more business and to work more efficiently. But there's still that human element.
The reality
to
is
the
real
house.
estate is messy, right? Transactions
is.
are so complicated
Exactly.
and convoluted.
And so even though humans are messy too,
Yeah.
there's still this element where it needs to have that human. Usually it's even just calming everybody down, and just getting everybody to think logically again is something that, a person has to do. And that happens in the living room. That happens, on phone calls. It doesn't happen in a chatbot.
And I think it would I can't remember who said. I think it was Magia who said it when we were in Canada. We were talking about the future of real estate agents, and someone said, "Hey, I think they're going to be around always because sellers need someone to tell them they're right." To reassure them that they're making the right decision.
It's true.
But I think, and I say that, and I think that is true, but who right now is the best at telling you you're right?
There's settings that you can tweak, Reed, to make sure that they're not so complimentary.
Okay. Oh,
You know,
But it's like the
wow,
Reed,
Reed, that's
on you.
such a great idea.
You did it again, Reed. I mean, again with the zingers. The thing I always kind of equate it to representing yourself, or having AI represent you when you're in court. You know, you're being sued for something, or like it's that level of investment.
Right.
You're talking about your life here. You're talking about a house. This is your biggest life investment. Having AI do brain surgery. There's just certain things that I think still require that human element to be able to do. It can help in all of those cases. It can provide support in all those cases. But I'd much rather have somebody who's done this, who's an expert, who can, again, confirm that what I'm doing is okay.
Yeah, it's
Right.
that therapist aspect, right? I see agents posting all the time, oh, I'm a therapist, I'm a gardener, I'm a this, but there's that social kind of therapy element to it.
There really is.
They need
there really is. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I will tell you, I think if I had done this enough to where I could probably qualify, and not to take away from the work that they do, but it really is just that element of being able to take somebody through a process that is, again, just a battle to get to the end of. And, you try going through a divorce transaction, try going through a family member passing away.
Oh, yeah, and the trust that all the kids are fighting.
And so AI wants none of that. They'll certainly be able to, again, guide you, but again, it still requires that human element to get through those tough ones.
So back to like my point in the first part is like this whole vertical integration of all the vendors and all the parts of this kind of real estate transaction equation all being under one roof. It's like, to me, it's like, why is media going to remain outside of that? Why isn't media going to get sucked into this vertical integration of controlling every aspect? And whether it's a revenue share or whatever it is, why are we outsourcing media? Why don't we control that too, or at least get our fingers in that pie too? So how are we? I guess we
because
need
they're
to
nothing
look at,
if not the greediest bastards in the world, right?
Yeah. So if they have title and escrow and everything else, let's get the media empire too, and bring that in. So it's like, how do we remain a part of that equation or not yet kind of?
But it could be, though, that it's not lucrative enough for them. I could see that where it's like they want the standardization, but obviously if they're asking for 10% back, they're seeing some dollars from it. But
True.
But I don't know, because you wonder why they haven't done it yet, because they have all these other in-house things, and I don't know why, but it's like. Maybe
like I guess there's window cleaners and house cleaners and like termite people. I guess we're
I think
still
we're
a part
seeing more
of like
them, that ecosystem,
the kind of periphery.
Probably. Yeah.
And again, we're talking about the fork in the road. I mean, if you did want to be a media person for one of these big brokerages, you could certainly go that route and give up a lot of your business to do so. But you guys work with us, the agents, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And most of the agents are now going to have to figure out these next few years how to stand out from this amorphous blob that we're all being seen in.
Yeah.
We need you guys.
Yeah. Well, but unless unless the blob is standardizing, what all the media looks like, then we just got to fit into that cookie cutter. And then it makes it easy. If they standardize it, then they can hire it in-house. And that's the thing, is I think no successful person with a real estate media company is ever going to go and turn it in to work in-house. Because we make so much more. We have no ceiling on our business,
right?
But they're going to offer you $50,000, or if you live here, they're going to offer you $75,000 to come in and be their in-house person. And if you're not making any money at all, that you're going to take that job. Yeah, if you're just a photographer looking for work, shit, man, I'll take that any day. But with our business, I mean, our revenue is so much higher than that.
And you have to give up all of these clients, just come work for our clients or our agents.
Yeah.
But then when that changes, suddenly you got no business at all, right?
And then I mean, I think if you were maybe making a similar amount and then you said, well, at least it's steady. They offer health benefits. They offer, hey, there could be reasons to do it. But, with us as entrepreneurs, it would just be tough to go back and do that.
Well, what gives us all hope is that I think really the playing field is kind of leveled in terms of the platform. Because really, it's who owns the platform, I think, that kind of rules the world at this point. And because it was owning that Google search page, the search results page, which was, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Compass, as they control the listings and how they're delivered, now that playing field is leveled to where AI is looking for better, local, more deep resources of websites and platforms to work with. And so the local agent, the individual agent, the teams, that is who's going to rise to the top here. That's why Compass and Zillow are working so hard to protect their network, because their traffic is plummeting.
Okay, well, and on this, I want to get your take on this, because recently I think the Chicago MLS just said, as of today, we're recording this on June 1st. As of today, the Chicago MLS has cut off the feed to Zillow.
Yes.
And
that's wild. Yeah.
It's pretty
wait,
wild.
That was an option? Like,
I didn't know there was that. I didn't see that checkbox. Did you see that checkbox? I missed it.
That's
I was
wild,
like, I was like, why now? Why wasn't this done 10 years ago?
Yeah.
But, because I think they could have stopped the rise of Zillow if all the MLSs had just said, no, you can't scrape. And then, I've said it a million times. Zillow, all these places have built their businesses on being able to scrape the MLS.
Yeah.
And
so
then
now,
feed it back to the agent. Oh, now pay me to display the info I just took from you.
Right. And so, that's the level playing field I'm talking about now. Is that, again, they're losing their positioning. Zillow is losing their positioning of kind of owning that MLS search space, to where now you can deliver the same experience, possibly very close, on your own website or through your local MLS, and have that be where the traffic is generated. It's what we're paying association dues and contributing towards.
Well, the one place you should be able to find it all is realtor.com.
Right.
I mean,
even though we sold our name to, I think, was it AOL Fox Warner at the time?
Oh, you did?
Oh,
you did?
Warner.
Okay.
Yeah. Oops.
Okay.
Whoopsie.
Okay.
Yeah. Who knew that was going to be a good idea? Bad idea. So but it's being able to to get that direct line to the MLS, which again is really the whole point of what we're trying to do, is to have it be this market, which doesn't have Zillow have the power to say, we're not going to show your listings, and Compass can't say, we're not going to show these listings.
Yeah.
The whole purpose, going back to why the MLS has worked for decades, is because it's access to all, you know,
syndicate to everything and everyone, right?
Exactly. So this is a big step in that debate actually having some traction, to where, agents have a voice, a collective voice to push back against the platforms and say, this is really how we want it to be. So it's an interesting time.
And there's a whole Compass Zillow thing, right? Like the CEO, Rob, what's his name? Rob Refkin?
Refkin.
He hates Zillow, huh?
He does. And there's a lot of things about Zillow I don't like either. But the part about the Robert's play that I don't agree with is what he's not saying is, like, let's have all the listings be available to all. Why he's fighting with Zillow is because Zillow says you can't do that. You can't have private listings. So I've had this really weird, oh my gosh, I agree with Zillow.
Yes.
Oh God. What's happening?
I've been in that position a couple times too.
Yeah, we have.
What's happening to me?
Who am I in bed with right now? What's happening?
I'm changing. I mean,
common enemies. I'm like, oh, Zillow, you hate Matterport? Oh my God.
Let's go get a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Zillow has bought me some beers before, so I will.
That's
say,
right. That's lunch, and it's kind of like, what?
Yeah,
that's cool. But that's really where we're at, and so and I think and Robert is watching the Chicago. Compass is watching the Chicago.
Everyone's watching. I think everyone's going to watch. Because that's how you take down Zillow. It's like, if you don't, but of course, I mean, I got to think they're going to sue. I mean, it's I mean, I would imagine.
Got to, yeah.
And then that gets mired.
Of course, it's years and years. But then if they're saying, well, unless a judge grants an injunction or whatever, it's like, well, we're not turning it back on. You're suing us. Screw you.
It would be nice to have somebody make an argument in court to say that the best thing for a seller is to have their listing available to all the agents who have the buyers that could buy it, and the open market principle.
Yeah, then that's the precedent.
What is best. And if we could all just subscribe to that and move on, that would be great. But I think that's really the argument that needs to be made. Not, oh my gosh, I hope the seller's not going to be inconvenienced because he's going to have to sell, show the house to 10 people and, make $500,000. I mean,
no, that's just the gatekeeping, closed-minded approach. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, to double end. The move is really to double end.
Yeah.
So,
well, double ending takes action, though, right? And so,
that was that other weekend we did.
That was my best action item ever. Segue ever.
That was a doozy.
So it's really time for our action items.
Our action items today are sponsored by Pixel CRM. Go to pixelcrm.com, where you are going to be able to find all the stuff that you need to run that back end of your business, keep track of your clients, market to them. So many functionalities with Pixel CRM. It's going to grow your business. Check it out. pixelcrm.com.
Hey now.
Sam, did you come prepared with one?
I'm just gonna go for it.
Okay, well,
Can we have some examples of some action items that can maybe help inspire me to make sure that I have a completed
I forgot to prompt
idea?
you, but
That's okay.
I'll go first, and then
Okay.
we'll end with you because you'll have the best one.
There we go.
Hope so.
So I'm going to do it. So I really look at run the numbers of your client spend for this year and last year, and look at the percentage of revenue from each client. And if you have anyone that is up there in the 20-30% of your revenue, even if it's a team, right? Because I think sometimes there's a team that is a large part of your business. Just look at that and be aware of it, right? I don't think you don't change anything about them, and that's congratulations if you have that big of a client. But just make sure that you're doing everything you can do to get that percentage of revenue from that team or client down, right? So you want to make sure that if something does go haywire, it's not going to sink your entire business. And which is basically just like do more marketing, get more agents.
You're not bringing them down. You're bringing the rest up,
Absolutely,
right? Relative.
absolutely. Bring the relative number down.
Yeah.
So that is my start. Just start thinking about that. Be aware of it, because I think sometimes if there's these potential problems out there, even if we're just aware of it, it's going to help with that. But then don't panic and just, go to bed worried every night that you're going to lose that one client.
Yeah. Because if the switch flips on that client, then
It can. I mean, I've had switches flip on clients I never thought would flip.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So my action item, just kind of riffing out what Sam was recommending earlier, is like, we're always talking about in-person marketing, going to the meetings, going to the networking events. But all of that is like meeting agents, talking to agents, reinforcing your relationship. You don't see a ton of brokers at those things. And I feel like now with all of this stuff happening, we need to kind of reach out to brokers that we know. They're not always at the networking events, but take them to coffee, have lunch, especially like we have a ton of RE/MAX clients. Like, what is their media looking like now? Are they getting guidelines? Are things changing? Like, what do we need to be aware of?
Great idea.
Not just tapping into the agents, but tapping into the brokers a little bit more.
For sure.
Be interesting to have just a more positive conversation about the world changing. Having you guys again try to align with their changing world.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no better way to build a relationship right now. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. I guess for me it would be again AI related. Surprise.
That's fine. No problem.
But yeah, to go to their favorite AI tool of choice and actually ask it for the top real estate media companies in their area.
Okay.
You can ask it to also say and be very, and if my name comes up in any way, be very critical about it and put me up against my competitors as well and show me how my website, my social media and stuff comes up. So if you don't come up, that's okay.
That's bad.
Take those three people and say, what about their websites, their social media that gets them to be recommended? And then now you've got this list of things that you can do now to add to your website, to add your social media platforms, to get up in that. There's basically 3 that they recommend. You know, so you got to get in that top 3. And so, but if you don't know what that gap is, it's really hard to close it. And it might be smaller than you think. A few more things and just more targeted content around specific areas that you serve could change things right away, could change it overnight.
Yeah. That's interesting. Like, I actually did that last week because I was like curious. It's like an AI audit, right, of your business, your kind of SEO audit.
Yep.
And it's like you type in Ventura and it's like Upmarket Media. Like,
did I personally come up?
No.
You've done a good job of actually removing yourself from those, right?
Right. Yeah, but it was like, we dominate Ventura. Ventura. It's like Upmarket Media. We were like the number one big paragraph and then some others underneath. But then it's you go to other cities up the grade or just even in the same county.
Right.
Then it changes drastically. So you think, we got the county locked down. But it's really city by city, and it's like it changes a lot. So
and that's how people search. They either do search the city or near me.
Yeah.
So you have to have those things that really dictate that you have a presence in each of those cities inside the county as well. So, good thing to do.
All right. Sam, thank you so much.
Thank you, Reed.
Molly, thank you, of course.
Thank you, Molly.
Mark, thanks, man.
That was fun, man.
Thanks for being here.
Maybe I'll do it again.
I
felt very special having Mark here today.
I know.
It was awesome, man.
I know. And of course, thank you to all our sponsors. You are keeping the lights on here. The lights are hot.
Yeah, they're warm today.
Showbiz is hard, man. And thank you, of course, to all viewers, all of our listeners. Thank you so much. And we, look at this. We're going to be back next week with another episode. Sam's not going to be on it, but we'll miss him. But that's all right.
I might be here.
No,
we'll
Mark.
see.
Mark is coming. We have a date to record. We have a very special episode coming up.
Yes.
A very, very, very special episode that everyone is going to want to hear. and it's going to be a tough episode.
Yeah, it'll be bittersweet, but the fans will love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And so, that was a tease. All right.
Good
and so,
tease.
but next week is not that episode. All right. Bye. Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios and is produced by Molly Peart and edited by Bethany Dietrich. Our wish for you this week is to not have to do any Friday Night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.